name is Frankie, and this is my co-host,
Stan the Man.
and we are excited to talk to you about some of the updates from our recent tournaments and some of the new cards that we're seeing pop up in constructed formats. But before we do, Stan, why am I always the bridesmaid?
Well, you just love wearing that dress.
No.
You post the photos in the Discord for anybody that wants to see.
No.
They're so cute.
Ooh,
Frank goes, well, I just got this new dress and I can't wear it.
and I can't wear it unless I'm the
Anyways, no, that sucks. It really does. But I mean, I think you guys played really well. The guy that won was like, I watched most of his matches that day, and he was just like on fire the whole day. Obviously, you have to have some good draws, but like he was playing really, really solid. And against you, you should have seen he was shaking.
Oh, I know.
Like he was super shaking. So like you had the fear of God in him and everything. He played to his outs. He played proper, even through his nerves, which for you guys, you know, even like the really good players do get nervous. Through the nerves, you just make the right call, you know, trust your instincts, go for it. And then if the draws line up, you know, you're the RCQ winner.
Well, and to a little bit to that point is I don't know that guy, but I can tell you that he is probably one of the people I've seen most at RCQs.
Yeah, exactly.
So like I've seen him a ton. Don't really know him, but like he called me by my name earlier in the day, and I was like, oh, you know me, which like feels weird because I don't feel like even though we
might not think you stand out, but maybe you do to some players.
Right. Like we have this podcast and, you know, I do like fairly well at RCQs, but I don't feel like people should know me for anything.
Sure. I mean, I guess I get your point, but like certain players pay attention to different things. Like Norma and I were actually bonding over this at the Nerd Rage Indiana event where we were just chatting, and whenever Norm's the owner of Nerd Rage, for those who don't know, whenever Norm and I get to talking, it's always like shop talk. So we're literally just chatting about random stuff. And then Jared wanted to meet him, so I brought Jared over. We're talking, and it came up that like I basically told Norm the saffron olive joke where we're at MagicCon, and it was like, dude, you're standing like right next to saffron olive. I'm like, which one is that? You know what I mean? And then they're like, you know, the white guy with the beard and the glasses. He's kind of heavy. And he plays Magic. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, you know, like 80% of my customers. Wow, yes, I know specifically who that guy is. And Norm is like, yeah, it all goes over my head. People are like, you don't know this guy and that guy, and I'm like, yeah. Besides like Mangu and Reed Duke and like, oh yeah, a couple other pros from like back when I paid attention to like Star City games. I just don't know them all the top of my head anymore, you know, and it's hard to keep up with. Maybe if they had like fantasy for Magic, you know, like when I was really into football, I used to like run a couple like fantasy football leagues. That was such a blast.
Speaking of which, did you ever run like those fantasy League of Legends ones?
Oh,
I did. I did those a ton.
Fantasy League of Legends was actually unironically pretty fun.
Oh, it was so fun.
CS per minute, all that stuff.
Yes,
oh,
I was watching like vigorously for that.
Yeah, that kind of stuff's kind of fun. It's like, how do we turn sports into D&D? You know, like it's so fun.
Yes.
If Nerd Rage did like fantasy for their events, dude, that'd be so sick. The only problem is like you really need consistency from the players. And like,
right.
Oh, like, I'm gonna pick this guy for my team. Oh, he chose to stop playing Magic that year.
Right.
Well, anyways, maybe you could do fantasy for like the end of the year Nerd Rage tournament. You know what I mean? Like the final December, January gauntlet they do, where every player has to have 3 decks. Like 35, 40K in prizes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That event is so sick.
Well, one
of the coolest things Norm does.
I really, really would want, more than anything, to have a tournament like that where you have players over the course of 2 or 3 days play different formats.
Yeah, that's literally what he does.
It really shows like who the great players are, and not just like these people play Pioneer and these people play Modern and these people play Legacy.
You know, it's very true actually. Specifically, I forgot what guy it was, but they were like memeing that he could only play one format. And part of the way the bracket worked, because it was like a Swiss phase and then there was like an elimination phase. But I can't remember exactly the rule set, but you could like basically ban somebody off of a format or your match. And then it was like, okay, we have to play Standard and Modern because I picked to ban Legacy. So I don't know if it was like you get to pick if you go first or second, but then they get to pick what format you're playing. But it was like, okay, so everybody, I guess, that day was like, well, just don't play that guy in that format. And then he's like, cool, I showed up with this Standard deck that somebody let me borrow. So yeah, there's a little bit of that for sure. You get to see truly like the top players in top form. And honestly, it's a lot of fun to like have some structured events. I watch a lot of chess, and for those that are interested in chess right now, is like some of the best times to watch. And they'll have like these double round robins that take like 2 weeks to play, and like such good structured events, and like really high prize pools actually compared to Magic. And you're just watching like some of the best players compete. And it kind of makes me sad because like Magic almost had something going with that when they got rid of the Pro Tour for a while, and during COVID they had like Magic, whatever it was, like they were paying the players like $75K to like, hey, you work for us, we're gonna have you on arena playing games against each other. That just was like almost there for me. Like they could have just added more structure to it. Pokemon has like regionals that'll get like 3,000 players, and then I'm like, besides Norm and like other big third party like Star City games, you know, doing large events, Magic doesn't really do regionals like that anymore. And it's like, man, it'd really be nice, you know. So like when you guys are in their comment section, if you want something to complain about, speaking of complaining about WotC, actually, I have like 2 complaints right now. So for our RCQ that Frank's gonna give you guys a rundown about later, we had 16 players. So it was and it's honestly one of the worst things about RCQs. I actually played in one of these at Dice Dojo. If you guys remember a couple episodes back, I talked about it when I went with Julian. It is so cringe, but if you have less than 17 players, but more than 8, so 9 through 15 or 16, you have to play 5 rounds. It can't be 4 rounds. Unless you're playing sealed, in which case it's 4 rounds plus top 8 draft, which is way more simple. So I don't know why they don't just do that. But anyway, so for RCQs, you have to play 5 rounds by force, even though you could theoretically just do 4 rounds. And then to make it worse, it's a top 4 cut. So it's 5 rounds top 4 cut because you have 16 players. And I'm just like, I just don't see the purpose. It makes no sense to me, besides like maybe a time constraint, but you're adding an extra 4th round. So either make it 4 rounds, cut the top 8, or make it 5 rounds and then give us the option to cut the top 8 as a TO. And then just because like other card games have like optional, like you can do this or this depending on what your player base likes. Either one is
tournament legal.
Yeah, tournament legal,
acceptable. Yeah,
exactly. And I'd much have rather have done a top 8 cut where like I think we had Jack playing against somebody who was X and 1, and then you and Julian were X and 1, where normally it was like you guys would just be able to split, no problem.
Right.
And then Jack is playing for a top 8 seat, and that guy is also fighting for a top 8 seat or a draw that gets him in if they go to time.
Right.
So Jack ends up winning against this guy who's X and 1 and gets 5th place. It's like, dude, that is so sad. So like you're 3 and 2 with the best breakers, or potentially like let's say he's not playing against Chris because Chris is very nice. Chris is like, let's say he's just some like grinder who's like a scumbag, and he's like, hey man, you have no chance. They're gonna just draw, scoop to me so I can take one of their spots, you know? Like you shouldn't put players in that position. It really should just be a way more smoother structure. Your matches actually mean something, and the cut to top 4 just makes it really unclean, at least in my opinion.
Well, and on top of it, like from the player side, I cannot tell you, I mean, right while all that was happening with Jack and Chris, and I'm playing against a control mirror.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in the last round, 3 and 1, being like, I've had a great day and I feel incredibly nervous.
Yeah.
Because like it's not over. Yeah. And like usually in those situations, it's like, oh, I'm in. Like I did well at the beginning of Swiss and I've got it now. Whereas like you have to have, like going 4 and 1 is like way harder than being like 3-1-1 or like 3-2 with good breakers. Like winning 4 of 5 matches is like
in these RCQ settings with
that. Like those odds are like tough, really tough. So I was really stressed.
One of the things that really was annoying is like, so I'm watching this as a TO. One of the players, so the player you beat to get to 3-0, nothing against him, he's a great player, but specifically that the way it works out is that you beat him for 3-0, right? Which means that you should be locked for top 8, but you're not, because it's a cut top 4. And now you lose round 4. You lose round 4, that guy goes 4-0, so he's locked. That's great. He should be. He earned his 4 wins.
Yep.
You're 3-1 now.
Yep.
Theoretically should still be lying for top 8, but whatever. The guy you beat gets paired against him and then just gets the split for top 8 or top 4 rather. And so it's like,
and you were almost beat him.
Exactly. You're like, wait, well, why did I beat him? I should have lost that match.
Right.
I could have just been done now. It makes no sense. It actually is just so cringe.
Yeah.
But anyways, if you guys, if you're ever in the comment sections, you got some, gotta get something off your chest and you don't have any ammo, let me know.
And for reference, because we didn't specifically say earlier with our joke at the beginning of the episode, I made the finals of the RCQ top 8 for a deck which I am favored in and ended up losing. So I lost in the finals. That's why the bridesmaid. At least like we have clarity before we talk about it.
Time in the finals and not getting there.
Third time.
Wow.
Third time for the win and missing it.
Yeah, it's rough. It happens, These are competitive events. But my other qualm with WotC right now is maybe it's not even their fault. Who runs Arena? Daybreak? I don't know. Or is that MTGO?
No, Daybreak is MTGO.
Yeah, okay. So then Arena is still WotC's problem, and they fired like 1,000 employees, and like 50 of them worked on Arena apparently, because I don't know if you guys have been noticing a lot of people crashing on Arena lately. It's been happening to me a bunch, and I didn't realize why up until pretty recently. Fire Shoes, our boy, tweeted out in response to I forgot what pro it was. It was either Jim Davis or. No, not Jim Davis. Jim Davis had the hot take that I posted, which I totally agreed with. It was somebody tweeted out there like, I keep crashing on Arena. Is anybody else experiencing this? I was experiencing it for weeks, and it turns out that they finally figured out what was the problem, and the best of one sideboard being split off and like being 7 different cards for some reason was breaking Arena. And it turns out like it could cause you issues if you had like, let's say for example, so in that deck you lent me, for whatever reason, when I copied it, it put 2 Duresses in my sideboard, but different sets. I didn't care enough to change it, but that counted as 2 different cards. So in my best of 1 sideboard and my best of 3 sideboard, I had 2 different Duresses.
Because the Duresses are from different sets. That is so dumb.
Well, it's not about the look. That matters almost nothing for the purpose of the problem. Like, they were actually the same artwork. I didn't care. It splits them up for whatever reason.
It registers them as different cards.
Yeah, that isn't actually the issue. For whatever reason, not a programmer, having a card that's the same copy in your BO1 and BO3 would like crash the game. It just would break the game. And so like Jim Davis replies and he's like, based by the way, I love Jim Davis, great guy. He goes, why do we even have the best of 1 sideboard? Nobody uses it. It's a logistical nightmare. Clearly it's causing errors that they can't fix, and it would save them a ton of programming time to just be like, we don't have this anymore.
Right, because you don't sideboard because it's best of 1.
Well, so the reason why it exists, for those that don't know, is because back in Strixhaven, we were doing a lot of learning, and learning lets you grab cards out of your sideboard that were lessons. And for whatever reason, they were like, oh yeah, if you could get 15 lessons, that's so broken. We got to nerf that. We got to nerf that mechanic that nobody plays. That was like almost unplayable in standard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was just so dumb. And then like, not only that, but like, now that they're rotated out of standard, I don't know a single learn card that gets played unironically.
It was like, I don't know if you remember, for a little bit of Pioneer, there was a time where you play that card that was like, you gain 2 life and you get a basic land.
Oh yeah.
And then you'd go grab
experimental study. No, I can't remember the name of the card, man. It's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah.
And then
ecological studies.
Yeah, and then the card that you'd grab from the board was the one that makes like a 4/4, a 3/1, and like a 2/1 flyer.
During standard, when I was playing Blue Eye Control, you would play whatever the professor was that learns. And then Wombology or whatever her name was, and then you would go like,
Wombology.
You play the card that was like summon a bunch of guys. So you get everything but the elemental and the fractal or whatever. Or no, you get the elemental, you get the ink, and you get the
one other thing. Yes.
That card was playable. And then there was like Intro to Annihilation, which was like a 5-mana removal spell.
Oh, it was like an exile removal spell.
Lay the Land. Yeah, they were all okay, but like
medium.
Even in like the worst case scenario, none of those cards were breaking the game. A lot of times they were not even getting you out of a bad spot, and they had to like fundamentally change the way they programmed Arena for that. just to like not even have good results.
Sure.
And it's frustrating not knowing that all those games that were crashing or all those times that arena wasn't working for me, it was literally just a programming error that didn't need to exist. And it's like for a mechanic that was like marginal.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So sorry, you talking about qualms with wizards. I actually thought about this today and wasn't planning to talk about it on the podcast, but Will Kowalczyk.
Yeah.
He posted on Twitter about how he was like dropping out of a Dice Dojo's RCQ, and it was a $25 entry, and their only prize support was the promos. The only prize support was promos.
Well, it's not a WotC problem, is it?
No, it's not a WotC problem.
Well, I guess it theoretically
but
is.
It's like a store problem, and I think that
it's only a WotC problem in the fact that they say run your events however you want with no guidelines. If they had guidelines and then you broke the guidelines, now you're kind of cringe. But yeah, that's crazy. No prize support.
I don't know. My honest opinion is that if you're running an event and you go to an event as a player and the prize, like it's under $30.
Was it like 10 people?
I don't know.
It like would be understandable to me if they had like a really, really low turnout. And like, hey guys, sorry, we got to pay the judge. We got to pay for the package because you have to pay like $50 to run an RCQ or whatever.
Sure.
But even then, it's like, as a store owner myself, we eat some of that cost. Like Todd and I go, let's make sure we pay the judges, and then we'll eat the cost of the kit, and then we put as much prize support into the pool as we can from the entries, minus paying our judge.
Right. And that makes sense to me because I don't know exactly from a store's perspective, but like, when I'm there, like at Griffo Nest, I really needed Giralf and like some other cards.
Yeah.
So I bought cards because I was already there. And it's like, oh, this place doesn't have a website and I can't find this stuff. I'll take these 4 cards. Thank you. And like, I know that like I at least see someone doing that at every event. So it's not like no one's going to buy anything.
Like, I am not incentivized to spend money at other stores because I can just get it myself for cheaper as a result of like the privilege of being an owner, right? So like if I really need sleeves, I can just take some sleeves off my shelf and then I'll like pay myself $8 or whatever. Well, I guess they're way more than $8. This is like 10 years ago prices.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll pay myself the 10 or whatever the cost was. Anyways, that's like nice. I can just like walk out with like we go to a tournament. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot sleeves. I just grab them off the shelf. We head out. I'm at Hot Sauce. I'm like, oh, you guys have this commander deck that I don't have in stock anymore. I'm gonna take that for a buddy. Oh, you guys have some like really cool, like I think I bought like this deck box that right there actually that I use. It's a Sword Art Online deck box, and I'm a huge fan of the character on it. So I was there and I was like, I need a deck box for tokens, like the ones that you let me borrow. And yeah, like, let me get this and this and that. And Hot Sauce had like a bunch of plushies. I was like, dang, I can get some of these for my store, you know? So it's so easy to like, if you're running a nice shop, like, yeah, look at all my wares. Thank you for coming. Like the RCQ is like just a good way to get your eyeballs on your store and to show that you can run good events, because let's be real, we've been to some where like the event was run pretty poorly and it's like, man, you could tell the difference. Not to like toot my own horn, but I feel like
you tell the difference.
I feel like I run pretty good events, and when I go to other events that are run really well, like even though First Aid Comics I'm not a huge fan of because of the chairs, Raul runs a tight ship. The event's always, you know, quick. It's he tells everybody where the food locations are. Honestly, for how little space they have, they run a tight event. You know, it's clean. Nobody ever has complaints. The price support is really reasonable. No. And when you're in between rounds, you didn't like price support at First Aid?
No.
Oh, I guess I only played the sealed one.
I was just say, I don't even remember, but when I did it and made top 8 for that standard one, yeah, I got like 3 or 4 packs.
What is it with these Chicago events, bro?
It was like
it must be the taxes.
It was like 5 or 6 packs and promos. Like I got a Voha promo, the like 3-color one that's like $12, and then I got a box topper, and I was like, that's bad. Yeah.
If it's constructed, it's pretty bad. When I went in top 8, it was sealed. So I was like, oh, I feel like I got my money's worth.
Oh yeah,
I got like the draft packs, all the extra stuff on top, my promos.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 packs,
and the top 8 pins, they had them at the time,
and then the promos. And I did not get pins.
And the pins are like $85, $90, I want to say. So like the fact that I even got my pin at First Aid Comics that time, I felt pretty good.
Like to sell the pins or to buy the pins?
You have to buy the pins, part of the
package.
The
Yeah, right.
So it's $50 to run the RCQ. To get like all this stuff. 80 additional, I think. I think it's like 80 or 85. Maybe there's tax. If you want the pins as well.
Got it.
So, and they sell out. So like it's understandable that not every store can have them because they sell out. But I think you should try to get the pins for your players. I think it's a really cool thing.
Oh yeah.
I think most
every store that has pins.
Like
every store that has pins. If I walk away and I like didn't win, just having a pin is like, okay, this is sweet.
Yeah. It's like it's even if you're not gonna use it, it's like a memorabilia. Like I kept the one that I got from that one, and then just like have it on a shelf. I'm not gonna like put it on a playmat or anything, but yeah, I don't know. It's so weird, I guess, seeing how some stuff that's definitely like bad for the players. I'm like, man, I don't think you can get away with that anymore.
No.
If that makes sense?
No, because at least for me and at least in the Chicagoland area, right? Because there are so many different RCQs in different places. I remember, I had this experience at this store. I had this experience at this store. And now that there are 3 per store, if they're competing against each other, I'm going, okay, I'm not going there.
Well, that's also true. And I think that's what's going to end up happening. People were worried that good stores were going to step on each other's toes. But I think realistically, the good stores already go out of their way to not schedule around each other, or to schedule around to schedule around
each other.
Rather.
Yeah.
And then the bad stores just do whatever they want, and then that's it, you know. And if you're a 2-slotter, you probably have some more desirability, maybe. But at the same time, the 2-slotters only get 2 instead of 3 events. So I don't know. There's a lot to talk about, I guess, a lot to unpack, but that I can't, dude. That's crazy. No prize support.
No prize support.
The fact that Will tweeted that is a big deal because, like, I earlier, I guess Frank was saying like people don't know. Like, how do people know who I am? Like, if you play Magic and you're going to multiple tournaments, people will remember your face. But like Will goes to all the tournaments. Like, I feel like, in my opinion, like I would want somebody like Will to not feel bad at my event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that like Will's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, super reasonable kid.
Like, and
easy to root for because of how nice he is.
Well, and the funny thing is too is that he's one of those people that I recognized like before.
Oh, sure.
Right, I kind of was introduced. Like I always saw Will at tournaments and went, "Oh, that guy's good," and not a jerk. You know,
and not a
like,
jerk.
Because you see some people, you're like, "Oh, that person's good," and like, I hate them. But
but that is true.
But there are like I'm like, oh, he's good and cool. You know, like not like just a normal nice person.
At the end of the day, we're playing a card game.
Right.
If you're an asshole, it's just so easy to not want to be around you.
Yeah.
But the people that are cool like that are like community builders. And at the end of the day, that matters way more, is the community building aspect, at least to me. Obviously we want to go win these tournaments and grind, but like beyond all that, it's something to do with your life. It's a hobby. There's camaraderie in it, and it gives us purpose. So yeah, I don't know. It's so interesting to see people that just take it so serious. You know, like get so butthurt, and it happens so rarely here because of the energy we foster. But that took us years to build. You know, and even when somebody like shows up that's new and they have that energy, we're quick to nip it in the butt, but at the same time, I was like, where is that coming from, man? Like,
yeah. Well, actually, what's kind of funny is that guy that I faced in the semifinals, I've actually had some experiences where he's been like pretty not cool. And like this weekend,
semifinals. Oh, the guy that was, I mean, he was already kind of salty actually during the tournament. Everybody was talking about like your match where you had like 8 life gain spells against him.
Oh.
And he's like, well, I got stuck on 1 land. That's the real reason I lost. It's like, well,
yeah, but I
guess.
Right, but to me that was like he was so much more jolly this past weekend.
Oh, really?
Than like I've seen him before be like really bad. And Julian's been like, I don't like that guy.
I did recognize him for the same, but I just wasn't sure if you guys knew that guy because I seen him at other tournaments and I was like, oh man. When you run an RCQ, you don't get to choose who shows up, right?
No,
it's not like a weekly, but at the same time, they're paying so much more, and it's competitive REL. So as a TO, I'm like, well, it's comp REL, and you're paying higher entry. I think you're allowed a little bit of assholishness, if that makes sense. I always tell my players, like, listen, you got to fight for the clock. You got to be like, hey, you're going too slow. And it sucks because you kind of have to be an asshole to not get like screwed over by people that would otherwise do it. And so when somebody has that, not borderline and not crossing the line behavior, but they're like up there, you know, like on the aggro side or the disagreeableness, that is just like an advantage that you kind of have to use at Comp REL, as long as they're not like really being overboard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
not like someone that we actually talked about on Discord the other day played against someone playing Niv, and this was like last year, and I saw them go, I need you to play faster. Can you please play faster? And I was like watching, like my game was done. I was watching, just seeing that happen, and I was like,
it's so funny because like when I was a new player, man, we're really getting into the weeds of this, but when I was like
I know this intro is so long.
I am sorry, guys. It's just I hope you like the stories at least.
Right.
When I was like a really new player, I'm talking like I had been playing in high school, and then I like just out of high school. So I graduated in 2012, so we're playing RTR standard and playing against this guy. And he's like one of like the end boss FNM guys, like him and like his crew were always winning. But to be realistic, he was like at the bottom end of the crew. So like his friends were always winning, but you're in the crew, so you're also one of the good players. And I was this new guy that's like freaking 18. So who am I? And I would only brew my own decks. I never wanted to meta. I was like only about my decks.
I'm really surprised.
Yeah, true. I showed up with like this really bad life gain deck, but at the time it was not that bad in standard. Whip of Erebos, Soldier of the Pantheon.
Oh, sure.
Assemble of the Legion, just like a really cool Mardu deck. And I loved Mardu back in the day. That was like my jam. And I 2-0'd the guy, and I swear to God, we had like 15 minutes left in the round. I 2-0'd him. And I felt so good because I was like, yes, I beat this guy. Kind of an asshole, but he's also really good. And I beat him, and it's my own deck, you know, and he's playing this meta deck. And then he's just like, listen, you need to play faster. I'm like, what's going on? I'm shook. I'm like, there's still 15 minutes on the clock. I was like, what? And he's like, you just play so slow. You need to play faster. And then I literally think back to my game. I don't even respond to him. I'm thinking back to my game like, did I take more than 10 seconds on a single turn? Because like, you know me, I play fast.
Yeah, you do.
I play really fast.
Really
so I
fast.
was like, and I played faster when I was bad. Trust me. So I was just like, what?
Go.
Yeah. And
I'm sorry, what?
Actually, somebody played really fast against me. I'll tell you about it later. Where I was like, hold on, slow it down a little bit. But yeah, I was like, what the heck? And I was like, dude. And then that guy ended up like, I don't know, just being a huge dick about it. And I'm like, dude, this is really, people really are out here like just getting mad about Magic the Gathering, man. Like, what is going on?
Well, and I think it was truthfully, like being in high school and playing during that same standard, I think people were worse then.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I think that like prize supports were a little bit more stacked in the sense that like they were stacked for first and second. Like I had someone, I don't know, this was like a year ago, be like, we should go back to like only first and second place getting prizes. I was like, that feels miserable.
Back in the day, the store I would go to was the Gaming Goat when they were not garbage. And I kind of mimicked the stuff I learned from that. And the prize pool was always really spread out and good, like top 4, top 5. We have so many players, you know what I mean? And like, that's kind of something I've replicated here.
I think we did top 2 when I was at my Gaming Go on Nook Park, but I don't know. I thought like when I heard it, I was like, first and second, that's really aggressive.
First and second is aggro.
I
thought we were aggro, to be honest, for some people with X1 or better.
I was like,
we had some people that are like X1 or better, like 2-2 doesn't prize. I'm like, 2-2 isn't a winner, but sometimes I gotta get the entry pack out, you know what I mean? Yeah, anyways, with all that being said, yeah. I think this intro's dragged on a little bit too long, and we thought this episode was going to be short, but apparently
we say that about everyone, though.
Anyways, getting into some housekeeping. If you guys want to support the show, as always, the best way to support us is on Patreon. If you are already subbed on Patreon, we really appreciate you. And check out the perks. You guys can always use them. Whatever you guys need, either whether it's coaching, cyborg guides, deck list help, you want us to play something on stream, we can do that as well.
You could get coaching from a runner-up like me.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to learn how to get second at an RCQ,
second place
every single time, Frank will get you there. And join our Discord. It's free access. There's certain Patreon exclusive channels for those people that use them. But otherwise, it's like 95% open access. You can get access to all our channels. Talk to other people that are prepping for events, do some team building, deck building, bounce ideas off of other good players. We have a lot of players right now that are actually playing dedicated decks, which is usually really good for people that want to either learn the deck, pick it up, or improve with the deck. You can talk to other players that are more or less on your level or even better with a deck that you like and see how you can get to the next level. Like, for example, myself, I happen to be really good at certain decks like Tron, and whenever people like Modern Horizons 3 spoilers are about to start tomorrow at the time of recording, and from what we've seen already, people are like, oh, is this good for Tron? Is this bad for Tron? What do you think? I get a lot of those questions, and I kind of know the answers as a result of having played the deck for like 10 years. And playing a variety of decks obviously helps you, but being a jack of all can only get you so far sometimes. When you're specializing in something, you get a little bit extra boon, I feel like, at least. Anyways, the other ways you guys can follow us, reach out to us on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. It really does help us out. We're trying to push for more subscribers right now just to see if we can get to 500. That's our current goal. And then on Twitter, we already have quite a few followers over there. And if you ever want to reach out to us or just send us some funny tweets, we'd love to see them. We try to stay active on Twitter as much as we can just to see what's going on with the community, see the hot memes like the Jim Davis thing with the MTG Arena or whatever Deckless Fire Shoes is tweeting out that are just awesome. And then staying engaged or seeing the drama like Will Clock. Dude, if you guys tweet about a store like that, if you ever tweet about my store like that, you better block your Twitter. I swear to God, bro. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna talk to Elon. That's crazy. I'm not putting surprise support in my next RCQ. I'm gonna try that out.
And if you haven't seen, also with our YouTube, we actually started doing a lot of new content lately. So if you haven't seen, we've been putting out a lot of shorts, and it's actually been getting us a lot of traction.
Yeah, and so getting quite a few shorts out there, and they're not TikTok shorts, but they're longer than that. So yeah, I'm not savvy with the TikToks.
They're about a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
I try and make them 30 to 60 seconds.
If you don't get to watch the whole podcast episode and you can only digest shorter form content, for those of you that are interested, we try to take snippets of like the really good stuff, or stories we'll cut into a short. So it's pretty fun, actually. And honestly, for those of you guys that have been watching, they've been popping off. We really, really appreciate you guys giving us the views.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into kind of our tournaments a little bit more. First, Stan, let's talk about the energy event that you had.
Yeah, let me pull up my Discord actually, because I did a write-up for once in my life, like I'm supposed to.
Blessed. Hashtag content.
And I must have put it in general. Where is it? I should have had it open already. I'm so sorry, guys. Oh, I think I found it. Anyways, I went to this team event that Frank trolled me for. It was awesome.
It's okay. I've got him for the next one. August 25th, baby.
You want to tell them about how you trolled me while I find this thing?
Okay, so I said I love team events, and I also, like, when I went with Stan to St. Louis, I just had so much fun. So I was like, Stan, we got to do this. We got to go to this team event again, please. And he was like, the shop. Okay, fine, great. And then like I re-look at the date and go, that's Mother's Day.
No, I told you it was Mother's Day.
Yeah, it was Mother's Day. And I was like,
of Sal, he told me.
And I was like,
yes, I found it.
Oh, I can't do that. I can't because,
Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And that's fair.
My mom will like straight kill me.
But we wanted to get
if Sal, I miss for Magic.
Yeah, we wanted to get Sal as a teammate. And then Sal was like, I can't. It's Mother's Day. And then Frank was like, oh, Mother's Day. After I had asked Gabe to join. So then Gabe was like, oh, yeah, I might go. I might not go. But I'm leaning towards yes. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go find us a third. So then I found Jared, who Jared has been watching for a while, and he had just moved back. He was moving back to Chicago from Seattle. He's like, I'll be there for that event if you guys need a third. I was like, sweet, let's do it. And then Gabe backs out. I'm like, okay, well, now I have Jared. I'm not going to screw Jared over. And I never wanted to go to the event to begin with because I was busy. So I'm like, okay, I'll find us a third. So by the end of it, no offense, Andrew, we love you. You're our boy, but we went with one of our guys who was like, he was not ready for this tournament, but he really wanted to go. So we're like, you know what, whatever. You're going to be our pioneer player. Let's just go have some fun, which we did. We had a lot of fun. But like I had to like, Jeremy gave me his deck. I had to type out his deck list, send it to Jared, and then make him a sideboard guide because he was like not prepped, no practice, didn't even know the deck he was going to play until like the week of the event while I'm trying to practice Esper. It was just so funny. But anyways.
And I want to take credit for that, by the way.
What?
Because he's trying to think of what deck he wants to play for this event. And I show up to the standard, what do they call them?
Store Showdown?
The Store Championship. The Store Championship. I show up to the Store Championship and I like rock back my Esper list, just update a couple sideboard cards, and I won. I went 4-0 that day. And so Stan saw that and was like, oh, okay. Can I borrow your deck? And I was like, yeah.
And then he had a sideboard guide and everything. We had just worked on his sideboard guide. So he's like, yeah. I was like, I'll take the sideboard guide and the deck. Thanks. But I just was like not really feeling blue eye control for Thunder Junction. I really think the deck lost power. I mean, obviously it got stronger with 3 steps ahead, but I think the deck lost in terms of like how much more every other deck got and the way the meta and so ended up shaping up. I thought Esper was the big winner, clearly, and it's not going to go away until rotation, but Bloomburrow's right around the corner. So I was really high on Esper. I thought that for how much I liked Blue White the last 2 sets, I think it was not the deck of choice, at least in my opinion. And honestly, whenever I play against the Blue White deck with Esper right now, I feel really good. So I thought it was a good meta call, like you were saying, and it was such a good time. I really love Standard. I'm going to miss this Standard so much after rotation. Like, guys, cherish it. The best Standard format of all time. We really lived through it. It was so good. Bloomburrow better not mess it up. I swear to God, these furries, they better not ruin this format. It's gotta be good.
I just can't wait till there's like a constructed furry that like, has the artistic design of a furry that's just like in some deck,
I'm showing
like
up to Nerd Rage
only
in
furry
my outfit. I'm showing up as Scooby-Doo, I swear to God. Anyway,
I'll be Scrappy.
True. Okay, so we're playing the tournament. I had to drive up like at 3 or 4 in the morning because I did not go to the Saturday. I'm pretty tired, but we get it done. Round 1, our buddy Andrew, he's playing Mono Black Discard. Jared's playing Blue Eye Control, and I'm playing Esper.
I thought he plays 5-color control in Legacy.
It was Modern.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no worries. So I mean, it kind of was 5-color control because he had the Leyline Bindings, Blue White Control, but you have fetch lands, so
yeah,
you wouldn't know about that Pioneer player. But anyways, Andrew actually won his round 1, and I don't know if it was the jersey because I was wearing the new Boarhead jersey, but like my first 3 opponents were like. I'm like, listen, man, calm down.
You're at the wrong place.
Breathe,
here,
brother. We're good. It's fine. I'm not gonna hit you. I just won't do it.
Man, I don't know about jerseys. It just makes me think that he's gonna hit me.
Yeah. Well, I think that when people see another guy in a jersey at an event, like, this guy's on a team.
Oh man, he's trying hard.
My sideboard is. Oh boy,
prepped.
I pull out the sideboard guide. He's like, oh, these guys did homework. Like, what's going on here? Anyways, so Buzzy wins his round 1, and then I got my game before Jared even finished, like game 2, because it's my control versus whatever. I actually mull to 5 in game 1, and I just like look at the clock, and I'm just like, nah, I just scoop. Like I'm like in a really bad spot. Oh my God, I tell you, it was so frustrating to start the day that way because like. That's kind of like the omen, So I mull to 5 because no lands, right? I'm just like 26 lands in Esper. Can't get some freaking lands like we talked about already on the podcast. You might have seen a short about us complaining about lands. Anyways, I go mull to 5. It's Aclazotz, 3 lands, a 4-drop, Emperor or Shieldred, and then 3 lands, 3 2-drops, Aclazotz. Sorry, Aclazotz, 3 lands. Go for the Throat, Denick, and Deep Cavern Bat. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who I'm playing against. This is a really important choice here. And then I go, well, I'm on a 5. I'm going first. I'm not going to see an extra card. I feel like I need to play for this turn 2 Denick into Rafine. What is the best way to go about that? I don't know. But either way, I wanted creatures and not removal. Just in case, like, whatever he was doing, like, he could have been playing artifacts. Go for the Throat just doesn't do anything. Like, let me play for these creatures. Let me Deep Cavern Bat, take a card out of his hand. Let me hope I draw a Rafine, and let's get it. I bottom, go for the Throat. I top deck Denick. I'm like, okay, man, this is the worst. I'm done here. Like, this is so bad. And I top deck Denick, and then, like, I don't remember what the next draw was. It might have been a land. It was just nothing. I had just those 3 spells I mentioned were all I had. I was like, this is awesome. Anyways, I was playing against Abzan Legends, which, like, he crushed me with Malira game 1 because it was a 3/3 that I just couldn't deal with. But after that, I was like, oh, his deck is probably not good. So
I was like, when you named Abzan Legends, I was like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, I know. I was like, this is cool that you added white to your good deck, and made it worse. So because of that, I was like, let me just scoop. Let me get out of here. Let me get game 2 and 3. I go to sideboard. I look at it and I was like, yeah, this is for sure on my sideboard guide. It wasn't, but we figured it out. And then like games 2 and 3, I just like, crushed them. Like, it was not close. I'm like, I actually have spells. Wedding Announcement's a hell of a card. If I'm drawing cards for Rafine, you just can't beat me. Game 3, I had 2 Wedding Announcements, and I played both of the Lord Skitters. I just had so many dudes. No, it was game 2. I had so many guys. I go, turn them all sideways, and he's just like, yep, game 3. Like, he didn't even do the math. It was not worth it. I'm like, oh my god. Round 2, we lost. Actually, it was funny. We played against Jack's team, and you know what, man? If Jack was on our team, we probably would have top 8'd. Jack was crushing with mono red on Slick Shot Show Off. Shout outs to our boy Goblin Ringleader on YouTube if you want to check him out. But yeah, Jack was on a team. He met up with some random guys, and he just got prowessed out. Buzzy had no chance. He didn't draw the fatal pushes. Jack blew him out of the water, and Jack's a really good player. He's really been getting a lot better this year specifically. I'm really proud of him because where he was at last year, it's unrecognizable. And then I lost in 3-2 Toxic. It was so close too. I really feel bad because had I won that game, I think we win the round because Jared looked like he was winning his match. And it was so sad because like game 1, all 3 games he had the Skrells Hab against me on turn 2. And then he got the die roll win. So games 1 and 3, he's on the play against me. And both games, he had all 3 of the counter spells. Or not all 3. He had 3 of the counter spell that's like mana leak plus if you're on 3 toxic or more.
It's just counter spell.
It's just counter spell.
Yeah.
Or negate rather. You know, it is counter spell.
No,
yeah,
it's straight so counter spell.
And he had 3 of them, games 1 and 3. So I was like, how am I supposed to beat that?
Yeah, you got it. Literally, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you got me, man. I could never beat that hand, even if I pick my 7.
Oh, I feel like from playing that matchup a few times, that deck is I lost to Reed.
Yeah.
In the top.
Toxic is such a good Esper matchup.
In top 8 of the RCQ here, I really feel like that matchup is hard, and especially if they land Skrells Hive. If Skrells Hive hits, it's like you can remove the board, you can have blockers, but they just like
for it right away. I'm like Lauren, and then I grinded him out. Game 2, you could like see the difference. But game 3, I really felt where because when Reed beat you, I was like, how do you feel about the matchup? He's like, oh, I love Esper as a matchup. That's why I picked Toxic. I was like, oh, okay. And that game specifically, I was like, man, I'm really feeling the
truth,
the deck difference here. You know, like, dude, I can't do anything.
No,
it's unfortunate too because I really think I was the better player. Like every game, I was like maneuvering as much as I could, but there's only so much you can do. And then the Venerated Raw Priest is like the free win. You know, like, oh, I have this guy in play now, so you literally can't interact. Jared in that round is playing against. This is why I felt bad for Jack. No offense to your teammates, bro, but like his middle teammate was playing Domain, like Lana the Guild Pact,
Zoo,
Sinatraco. No, if he was playing Zoo, I would have been happy for him.
Oh,
he was playing Infect, like blinded agent, glistener elf, domain, laid on the guild pack, sign a Draco. And I'm like, oh, and so it's so funny because Jared, I don't know why, but Jared was like actually trying to do the team thing the whole day of like, hey, look at my hand. Should I sideboard this? And I was like, listen, man, I put you on that seat. Play your games. Don't talk to me during my game. But he goes, hey, should I mulligan this? And it was like a 2-lander, 2 prismatic endings, a leyline binding, and like a solitude. But we were like 2 lands, gotta ship it, no draw spells.
Oh, I was like
2 lands, but all removal, yes, but 2 lands, no counter spells. Like, and it's modern, you know what I mean? So we were like, no, you gotta mulligan that, man, like in 2 lands. And then his opponent goes Glistener Elf, and we're like, damn, bad call. He lost that game 1, but then once he knew what he was playing against, it was like he was winning game 3 when I lost to Toxic, which was sad because, oh man, had I won that match, we would have won round 2, and that would have put us on camera, I think, because Jack's team ended up being on camera the next round, and on camera you got to see the power of the domain infect. It was rough. There's like one card that's kind of cute. It's like a creature gets +1 for every piece of domain you have. So if you have max domain, you're like +5 for 1. That's kind of cute. But like Scale Up already does that. And yeah, I don't know. I would have almost preferred to have seen like actual infect, you know, like, or even like the Sultai version with Phyrexian Crusader. But Jack like on camera got his win, and then the other guy lost, which was, I mean, honestly, to be expected.
Sure.
Anyways, round 3 we lost again, but to be fair, Jared and I were not expecting to do well. So the fact that we even got round 1, you know, let's just be real. I mean, wasn't surprising. Buzzy got blown out by the Insult Artifact deck, which is so sick. I love that deck. Jeremy was playing it here.
Yep. He's been playing that deck a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, Shrapnel Blast is a hot card.
He almost got top 4 with the RCQ too with it. It's such a Shrapnel Blast. Oh man, Insult Artifact. It's so cool to see the deck with NT as well, because like one of the biggest weaknesses of Insult before was like, oh, just chump blocked in.
Right. Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
It's got trample now, buddy.
Yeah. yeah. My 5/5 is trampling.
Oh no, it's a 6. I discarded.
Right. Yeah. With the discard, it's like, oh man.
Yeah, it's really cool. Jared ended up losing to Prowess in Modern as well. Oh, it was actually, remember the previous RCQ where Fanshin won? And he was playing Heroic?
Yeah.
That was his Modern opponent.
Ooh, no.
And I was like, Fanshin, what the heck? Did you get your pin in the mail? And he's like, yeah, thanks, blah, blah.
That guy scares me.
Yeah, he's very, very good. He was playing the Modern version of Heroic, not the Pioneer one from the RCQ, so he just blew Jared out of the water. Not a lot you can do. It's like one of the worst matchups for Control. And then I was playing against Nicole. We played against her in St. Louis.
Yep.
She might have been your opponent because I remember playing against Zoe.
No, I played against someone else.
Oh, then
it was your opponent because Nicole played Living End.
No, Living End was Zoe. I was playing against Zoe.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So it must have been Kai's opponent and Nicole's playing Legacy.
Yep.
Nicole, great player, by the way. She plays fucking fast. Like, insanely fast. I thought I played fast. She'd be like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what did you just say or do? What happened? And to my defense, because I can keep up with most decks, she was playing the 4-color Legends combo with like I keep saying Coalition Relic, but it's Relic of Legends.
Oh.
And so
the standard one.
Yeah. And our match was so weird. So game 1, she mulligans to 5. It is what it is. Blow her out. Multi 5, you know, what can you do? Game 2, I multi 5. We're gonna have one of these matches, Nicole. And then I actually grinded her out, like with the multi 5, like just played like God, got her to like nothing, no board state. I'm about to win the match. I have like 5 guys in play. No, I have literally the board state is one of the guys was my land's tapped. I have Rafine, a bat that's like a 6/6, by the way. And then a Tashanas. And then I have Virtue in play. They're all untapped. I have just attacked her to like nothing, no life. Even if one guy hits her, she's dead. The bat has a long goodbye on it that I got from early, and I like grinded her out, you know, used the Tashanas to stop a trigger. My Tashanas is on her Slowkirk, so it has no trample, no abilities. She can't bounce it. And so She literally hits the savagest top deck, like never didn't have it of all time. It was honestly pretty badass, but I was like, damn, like that's rough. So she goes, and nothing would have mattered because I think Jared lost this match. But she goes into, I'm like, okay, trample, got it. This is gonna be rough because it was a big Slogurk, even though it was no trample, right? Attack with the Slogurk, discard the last card, trigger, and then she's just like, yeah, I'm probably dead, whatever. Flips the card over and then goes, oh, what? Hold on. And I'm just like, it's a freaking long goodbye. And so she goes, long goodbye. And I need her to not hit my bat, basically. She's like, hold on. And she's thinking. And I'm just like, oh. Padre Nuestro. Gets the bat, gets to go for the throat back, and then go for the throats my Tishana's. And now my Rafine has to block because I was at 7. And the 7/7 Slogurk has trample coming at me. So I'm like, block with my Rafine. Dies. I have no board state left in a Virtue. And she's like at not enough for my Anchorage to kill her. Because all my other guys were huge. The Anchorage was not.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh, that is so sad.
That's tragic.
And then I drew a land. If it was like Axos odds, I'm in there. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
That was so sad. And then game 3, she just had like the nut hand where it was like I said, she played too fast for me to keep up. On turn 3, she had a Rona in play and a Relic in play. And then she was like, turn 4. They were already in play. She goes, what up, play 3 guys. And I'm just like, hold on a second. Okay, cool. And she's like, let me slow down for you. I was like, yes, please. Just one at a time. Because I'm sure you're doing it right. I like tap the guy for mana, tap the runner for mana, tap this guy, play Rutstein. Rutstein makes all the guys cost reduce. And then because the cost reduction, I wasn't accounting for the cost reduction because I forgot Rutstein makes your creatures less. You played 2 more guys. So she had this huge board state on like turn 4. And I was like, got it. Rutstein is a cost reducer. That's crazy. I'm going to die. It was like Slogurk after Rutstein and then another guy. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm super dead. And I don't think I could have won even if I played properly. But then I was like, I guess you only have 1 mana open. I'm going to try to hit your Slogurk. And she goes, cool, Takanuma. And then mills the lands she needs to put the counters on him to bounce it back. And I was like, oh my God, man.
That's what that deck does. It's so
cool.
Frustrating that they can 1 mana like be like, oh, Takanuma Adawara.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to tap my creature for the mana. Like,
yeah. And Nicole's an insanely good player. So like, shout out to her. She crushed me. But like, that was like, I was like, oh my God, like, dude. You have the nut hand there. I can't keep up with it. Even with all the removals, like I can't kill enough of your guys. And I had like a pretty slow Esper hand. It was like guys, but not like the fast ones.
Yep.
No Rafine, and then like removal spells, sure. And then she ended up grinding me out. And we played it out just to finish her fun. And so she ended up beating me in the match. But like I said, by then Andrew and Jared had already lost, which was our plan because I was tired and I had to drive us home.
Sure.
Anyway, round 4. Plan is to lose. We won. Darn. So we're 2-2 after this round because Andrew finally got paired against Phoenix. That was the matchup we planned for. And we honestly expected a lot more Phoenix. We didn't see that much in the Pioneer seats. At least not in our bracket. That was the matchup we planned for. I gave the cyborg guide I gave him, he's like, hey, this has actually been helping me all day, just so you know. I was like, yeah, good. I made it for you. Crush with the cyborg guide.
Good. Join the Patreon.
I was like, hey, join the Patreon, buddy. You got to pay for that cyborg guide. He crushes his Phoenix opponent. I played against, remember that Grixis deck we were talking about, the crimes with Marchesa?
Yes.
I literally played against that. Really nice player. She was super cool. Obviously, it's not really like a super good deck.
It's not. To Esper. No. So, it's not even. Her. It's like BC tier.
It's B tier at best. Right now, I think maybe after rotation, we're going to see way more like, especially the Rakdos version
with furries.
With furries, those furries are going to be committing so many crimes.
Yeah, those.
Against humanity. Anyways, so I'm playing. Yeah, in game 2, I actually didn't hit a white source, and I like all my draws were white. like Wandering Emperor, Rafine. I'm never gonna cast any of these. Like my bat hit her like 10 times in that game before she finally went Gissa. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm dead. So game 3 and game 1, normal hands, just beat downs. She was really cool. She saw the board head tokens. She's like, oh my god, you're so cute. The rats. I was like, here, you can have some of them. Like, they're yours now, no problem. And
so you gave her my rat tokens?
Yeah, buddy, I'll give you more.
What?
The board hat
just
ones.
learn now.
Yep. Frank is poor. Look at him complaining. Anyways, and then Jared also beat his opponent playing Amulet, I think. So that whole round we swept. Which would have been nice if like it was not
earlier,
you know.
Right.
It's like you always like win three, and then you're like, oh man, if only one of those wins was this round instead of last round. You know what I mean? Like, which is the beauty of teams. It's such a fun time. Team events are so cool, man. You guys got to try them out. Like literally, first of all, shout out to Nerd Rage and their team. Love Norm, love all the guys, love Dakota, Haviva, all the people. Bryce was there. Such a dope squad. Libby, the judge running the events, and then they had like really cool head judges. All the judges were super cool at that event. Just go to these Nerd Rage events, guys. I'm telling you, man, it's such a good time. It was 100 seats for teams, or 300 seats. Like 100 team was the cap. There was like 94 or 96 teams, I want to say. They almost sold out teams in Indianapolis. You know what I mean? Like half the freaking room was from Chicago. So cool. And like such good vibes. Like nobody was like being an asshole, like unheard of at a big event like this. Like everybody was like laughing. Such a good time.
That's the vibe. That's the vibe of team events.
Dude,
I feel like people like it's hard for you to be a jerk when like you have two other people that are also on your team and you're like facing across not just one person but two other people as well.
Yeah, and like you're there with your buddies.
Yeah,
you're having a good time no matter what.
Yes, agree.
So it's just it was such a good time. Like sure, sometimes it sucks if you're losing, but like I don't know, like it just doesn't matter as much when you're like doing it with your friends, like realistically. And so we had a good time after that round. Got tired of babysitting Andrew, so we're like, hey, we're leaving. And then Jared needed a ride home. I was like, perfect. I just drove here. Let's get out of here before I fall asleep. And then we got home like at 5 o'clock. So that was nice for me because I'll be honest, I was exhausted. Like I got like 4 hours of sleep. And then Winter was like playing League of Legends in the room, screaming. And I couldn't get sleep after that.
As League does for you.
Mm-hmm. And then I had to leave like at 3 or 4 in the morning. Oh my God. On the way there, I almost got killed too. This guy was like, it was like a TV show. This guy straight up like almost hits me first of all. He just, I'm like, hello. And then he's just like, 3 lanes this way, 3 lanes that way. I had to call 911, like straight up. I was like, hey, pass me to the guy that does the highway patrol or whatever, because I got to report this guy. I gave him all the info I could. Told him what mile marker was on. He made me miss my exit because he almost hit me. Did my loop around. I hope they got him because that guy like almost hit the sidewall like 5 times. Almost hit me. And then it was like almost hitting like the other 3 guys because it was like 5 in the morning. It's like other 3 guys on the road. Like nobody's on the road. But this guy was just like, I was like, he's drunk or insane.
Yeah, that's why that early in the morning, too early in the morning, at least where we're at.
It was empty. It was beautiful. Like I'm doing like 100 the whole way. I mean, redacted. And like
redacted.
It's like nothing stopping you. No cops, no nothing except this guy who's like a lunatic trying to drive in. I'm like, dude, we have so much space, man. What are you mad at me? Like
children.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Insane. But that was how our event went for me at least. And then I'll let Frank let you guys know how his RCQ went here at Bortec Gaming.
Yeah, so I had a pretty good day. I made it to the finals, and you know, for me, again, top 8 is just a good day.
Yeah, true.
And as I mentioned earlier, it was extra stressful because of the, you know, it being a top 4, which means like you have to really, really do well.
True.
To like make it to the top 4 breaks.
If Frank doesn't top 4, I'm gonna cry for him.
Yeah, because I was running hot at the beginning of the day. Playing Niv to Light still. Really liking the deck, really having a good time with it, and I feel like I know it really well. I was actually debating getting off it and trying something different for this next coming weekend
because I really like Niv.
I already bought a ticket and I was like, man, maybe I'll go and back to blue-white right now. And then I was like, I just know this deck so well. I'm gonna stick on it.
For sure.
Yeah. So
I agree. I think Niv is sick. I think you gotta just get the reps in.
Yeah. The changes that I made to the deck for this past weekend that I felt like are really good is you went up in Shocklands. So you went up a Blood Crypt and up a Breeding Pool and up a Stomping Ground, and you took out the respective buddy lands. Okay. So we went off Rootbound Crag and Dragon Skull Summit and Hinterland Harbor.
I like that a lot.
And to
both for domain and for having untapped lands.
Yeah, having untapped lands is great, but the other thing that makes it really good too is that, like, to compensate for the shocks, we're playing a 4 of Lightning Helix. Like Lightning Helix.
Well, you also have that new card too. Oh,
Helix the Void?
No, the Cornucopia thing.
Oh, Ancient Cornucopia.
Dude,
yes,
that card is
a 2 of.
Awesome.
That card is crazy. I had a game where I was like, cool, I'm going to cast Niv, gain 5. And I had a game in top 4 against my heroic opponent where I had 2 cornucopias out and went, I'm going to cast Niv Mizzet, gain 10. Like, my opponent was like, cool, I'll scoop right there. Like,
right. Like, dude,
that's awesome. And just the ability sometimes.
Life gain, but also like it's a freaking Darksteel Ingot or whatever you want to call it. It's a Rainbow Rock.
Yeah.
It's so nasty.
Right. Well, and the Rainbow Rock, what's really cool about the Rainbow Rock is that you get the life gain once each turn. So if I go, cool, I'm going to cast Omnath on this turn, and then the next turn I'm holding up Lightning Helix or whatever, I get the gain life on that turn too. So it is like it's really bad for mid-range because it's so hard to outvalue them when you can just gain so much life.
Well, you're getting, so like, not to say it like 6 times, but like the amount of life you're gaining is so high that like it's not unreasonable for you to be at 60 plus life in some of these games, just from like Omnath triggers, your Cornucopia going ham, Lightning Helix, multiple Cornucopias in play, and some decks like Amalia where they're like, man, please don't be over 50 life, start to look way less scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I think Niftalite is going to start becoming like this premier deck.
Well, the ability for you to just think of the sequence of Omnath with Cornucopia out. Okay, cool. I'm going to decide to gain 4 life. Now I'm going to play Fabled Passage.
Right.
Now I can have the choice. I'm gaining 4 life off of that, and then I could gain 4 life on your turn.
Right.
Like, that's a 12-point life swing in half of a turn.
Right.
Like, that's...
And on their turn, you're like, fetch for my planes, Leyline Binding you. I'm still going to gain 1.
Yeah, going to gain 1 from the Cornucopia.
I'm still going to gain 1 life. And also trigger landfall. No blocks.
With my Beans trigger,
right, dude,
drawing a card.
It's so crazy. I think the deck is gonna get more and more insane with cards like Pillars the Bog, the Cornucopia.
Yeah.
Niv Mizzet can only get better as they print better multicolor spells. Bloomburrow specifically is a 2-color tribal set, just so you guys know. It's gonna be like a Ravnica.
Interesting.
Very much focused on guilds, I guess, if you want to call them, Celestia, whatever. I don't know what the colors specifically are going to look like because I don't think they've announced everything yet. So I don't know if we're going to get like the full 10 tribes. I think it'll probably be like 5 2-color tribes like they usually do.
Sure.
Like with Ixalan and the old sets back in the day, like Morningtide and whatnot. But yeah, it should be really cool. I think Bloomburrow, for all the crap we're talking, I think it's going to be a good time. I've really been loving all the designs lately. I'm looking forward to a 5th set in a row of some cooking for Constructed. And I mean, for anybody that's been enjoying Thunder Junction draft, I think Play Booster draft is like my favorite thing to happen.
It's a new level. It's a new level just because you have the ability to I find that the decks are more powerful. Yeah,
way stronger, and in a good way. Like, not like power craft, but more like sometimes limited in the past would be like, oh, did I get my 2/2 for 2? Or did you? Oh my god, this guy got the 4-mana 4/5 flyer. The guy, I'm like, oh, freaking boring. Like, oh man, he had removal and then he had a 4-mana 4/4. Well, I got the only planeswalker in the set, so you lose. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Some limited formats like did you guys get to play like the flashback concept
and Oko? No,
yeah, Oko, dude. I did get Oko in Thunder Junction draft, and let me tell you, man, I got 7 wins with that one. But like Concept Arcade flashback happens, right? And you're like, oh wow, I get to try cons again. And then me and John Grab were laughing like, Dude, Khan sucked. That was not a good draft format.
No.
Like, people would be like, oh, New Capenna was so bad. No, dude, you did not draft when we had to play with different sets at the same time.
That's why I feel like I saw like flashback Theros Beyond Death, and I was like, I'm not touching.
Special limited event, guys. I was like, special limited events, click. Theros Beyond Death.
No, I'm not touching that.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then, like, dude, like, they used to make us go like, oh, dude, hold on. It's draft night. Theros, Born of the Gods Journey. Like, no, dude, no.
Yeah.
I love that it's like one set.
Yeah.
3 packs.
Sure.
These are designed together. It was an impossible task. Oh, yeah, you got to make 3 sets. They're all in the same block, though, so they better draft well together. That's impossible.
It's really really difficult with how far ahead they plan those things.
Yeah, and like, you can't really like, oh, the rare in this set's going to be really good with the uncommon from this set. Like, is it?
Yeah.
You're never going to see it.
Yeah. But the other cards, to get back.
Yeah, sorry.
The other cards that I added to the deck, I really actually liked the way that this was described by someone. The new card, Roxanne Starfall Savant.
I love Roxanne.
So,
big fan.
I just felt like I wanted to say Roxanne.
I know. I was thinking
every time I played it, just being like, I'm gonna play Roxanne.
It's such a winter card too. I love that it's like a wizard cat. I'm like, yeah, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons. This would be winter.
Yeah. But Roxanne, Starfall Savant. This is red, green, 3 mana.
Yeah.
When she ETBs, you make a meteorite token that does 2 damage, tapped meteorite token that does 2 damage to anything. When you tap artifacts for mana, they tap for an additional mana. And that trigger on ETB also is a trigger on attacks. So she makes more meteorites that then drop in for another 2 damage that you can throw somewhere. And you can like throw to face. You can maybe like win it. Yeah, you can any target.
Gabe actually was playing a draft where he was like, I have Cool Ultimatum in my draft and I have Roxanne, which is 4 colors, by the way. And then he was like, I didn't know how easy it is to cast Cool Ultimatum when you have Roxanne. Because he's like, wait, it's like highlighting it. He's like, I didn't know I could cast it. And then I saw Roxanne is making double mana.
Yep.
And the meteorite is any color.
Right.
Oh my God.
So Roxanne was described as a more mid-rangey Tulsamir in like my Nib Discord. And I was like that makes so much sense.
Here's honestly where Roxanne really falls for me. Huntmaster of the Fells used to be like insane in Modern. Like it was like the 1-up for Jund or like Olivia Valderin back in the day. Like, oh dude, Jund got to late game and they played this guy and he's gonna keep flipping every couple turns. You lost. Like it's over. He's going to make a guy, and then he's going to shock you, and then he's going to make a guy, he's going to shock you. And she's just like, what is that about? Anyways, every turn, boom, those shocks add up. Because like it's not just like one thing, and then you're going to attack, and like, oh, I get 1 shock per turn. Hopefully this extra mana is useful. And it's in the context of Niv Mizzet, where you're drawing like so many extra cards, and then on top of all the extra cards you're going to get to cast now easier, your cards are super high impact. So like, if you Deafening Clarion and then 3 damage and then give her lifelink and then she has to attack and then 2 damage more to like their big guy, well, that's 5 damage. He's dead. You know, what's blocking her? And then you have Leyline Binding and all these other cards to like make sure the blockers die in combination with cards like Lightning Helix. You might go, oh, 4 Lightning Helix is kind of a lot. I'm not going to get to kill like his bigger guys. Well, it's now with Roxanne, everything's +2. And that context is so... I don't know. It feels like she just synergizes so nicely with the deck. And then she's a card that you can get off of Niv Mizzet as a girl target.
Right. Because if you ever have to like hard cast Niv Mizzet and you're on 9 mana, well, cool. Now you only have 4 mana left over to do anything else. But if you have Roxanne and she's gotten even 2 rocks out, it's like the additional mana really matters. And what you're saying absolutely makes sense. The only thing that didn't is... Deafening Clarion would kill her because she's a 4/3.
Oh my bad. So, she's a 4/4.
But
excuse me.
The point is still valid that like she does synergize really well with the rest of the deck and gives you the mana to like keep doing things and the damage adds up. And like even right if you're playing against vampires and you like can nix a Blood Tithe Harvester, like that's value. You know, like that's That's value, and then you have a body.
Guys, it's gonna start adding up. Also, any target means planeswalker, like
planeswalker face. Yep, it's good. And then lastly, I added in Scarab God.
Oh yeah,
just as like a mid-range breaker.
I was so excited when you showed me that.
Well, and it mattered in the finals because I had. Well, we'll get there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll get there. So my round one.
Love Scarab though.
I faced Phoenix, and it was Reed, who I'd faced the week before. And I actually, this was so funny, and I felt really bad for him. But I was like, so I said to Stan afterwards, I was like, I'm absolutely talking about this on the podcast. So my board is pretty big. I have like a Niv Mizzet, a Goblin, like a Fable Mirrorbaker flipped, and 2 Sylvan Carrotids, one of which is tapped.
Okay.
And he has a Shredder and a Hall of Storm Giants, and his deck is really low. And now that I built this board state, he goes, oh, I have to try and kill you this turn. So he plays on his turn Shredder, Treasure Cruise, double Connive Trigger. Well, he didn't calculate how many cards he had left in deck with the Connive triggers. So he went Connive, bin, Treasure Cruise with only 2 cards left in library, decks himself. I win game 1. And I was like, okay, I mean, like, I'll take that.
Yeah, you take
but
those.
Like, feel really bad.
You
that,
take those,
like,
but damn.
Yeah, because he needed the Temporal Trespass and swing in, and he had 2 removals.
Well, that might have been his only out anyway, but it's like, oof, maybe the Legend Shredder needed to come in second, you know?
Yeah. And then game 2, like, I just had a pretty big board and like got there. Like once you hit like a Niv Mizzet, if they don't have double removal spell, it's really rough. And I hit an early Notion Thief and he did not have removal. So like if Notion Thief hits the board against Phoenix, they can't draw with anything ever.
Notion Thief is so nasty.
So it's like, oh cool, you have a Connive trigger. You're discarding a card and I'm drawing. Like you just discard.
Right.
So got there.
Yeah, I saw you cast it against that one guy that like instantly removed it from the board. I was like, ooh, I was so excited to see that.
Yeah. Round 2 Phoenix again. I lost game 1. Game 2 I got there. I had Counter Magic and Kumbal did a ton of damage.
Oh, you
that
played Phoenix
game.
back to back?
Yeah. And Kumbal just like did the Lord's work.
Yeah,
We're like,
just,
I was like up, like he was like, try and dig.
I think that was the match I was watching you playing where you comboed him, but he killed your Notion Thief.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, I was just like looking at this combo like, oh my god, like this guy's cooking.
Yeah, Kumbal did like, I learned playing this deck that playing Kumbal is not something that I want to run out on 3, but like let him use removal on other things first and then be like slam Kumbal. Okay, if you don't have more removal, like this is gonna extend the game for me so far because even if he gets 2 Phoenixes out and he had to do 3 spells, I've gained 9 life.
Time locked him.
And he has attacked me for 6. So playing a little slower has like helped that a lot. And then round 3 was the same. I got a Kumbal, no removal for it, and just like got there.
You played Phoenix 3 times?
No, that was game 3 of
that
second round.
I was gonna say like, wow, like, all Phoenix, huh? Jesus, it will be done.
Then I faced Heroic round 3.
Okay.
Yeah, lost round 1.
Oh, that was round 3, right? Because you beat Matt. I think his name is, or
I played Reed, then Andrew.
Who was the Heroic guy? I forgot. I thought his name was Matt.
Yeah, Matt, Mike,
or Mark.
Mark. That's what it was, Mark. Yes. So faced him, lost round 1 to Heroic. The new tech that I had saw from the sideboard guide from the Niv Discord is that you put Kumbal in against Heroic.
Yeah.
And I did, and it again, Kumbal was like the winner of this RCQ.
Well, yeah, he invalidates the triggers.
Right, because you can go, I'm gonna whatever, +1/0 and draw a card. I'm gonna Ancestral Anger again. Cool.
It's just a normal deck at that point. It's not getting the free Kill Fiend triggers.
You lost 6 and I gained 6, and then you can hit me for however much, but I've gained a ton of life.
Yeah.
I was able to then like swing in on like a following turn with like a copied like a Fable token. I copied a Fable token and I swung in with Kumbal, and he went to block with his Illuminator Virtuoso, and I went, okay. And he goes, I'm gonna monstrous rage it. I'll take 2. And he goes down to like 4. And I was like, cool. In response, I'm gonna attempt to lightning helix your Virtuoso. Ooh. And he goes, okay, I'm gonna cast another monstrous rage. I'll go to 2. And then he didn't have a third blocker, so he was gonna get hit for 2. I won the game.
I see. Yeah.
And I like feel really good like beating an aggro deck on like an attack, you know?
Yeah. I'm the aggro.
Yeah. I'm the captain. I'm the captain now. Game 3, he just got stuck on 1 land. He like went 1 lander with a creature and a draw spell and like thought, right, I'm going to draw it, and then didn't draw it for 4 turns. And I was like, it was a nuts game. It was like I had Cornucopia, I cast Omnath.
I then like actually got to like 2 lands or whatever.
He did, but by that time I had already built up Cornucopia, Omnath. I bring to light into Tolsimir, which like made the wolf. I gained 3 life. I attacked. I made him lose a creature.
I remember seeing you had Combo, Tolsimir, Omnath, and like Cornucopia,
and then I cast a Niv Mizzet, and he was like, "Cool, we're done here."
Everybody's like, "Why are we watching this?"
Yeah,
stop! He's already dead.
Yeah, please.
Man. Yeah, it was
so he scooped.
I thought it was funny because he got mad that he lost that game when he was like, "Wow, so much life gain out of Frank's deck." And he was like, actually, it was because my deck didn't give me lands. And it's like, well, you kept that hand, buddy. Like, I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, he thought he would be fine because he was like, if I draw 1, I've got Virtuoso, and then targeting my Virtuosos lets me dig 4 more lands. So I guess.
Yeah, man. I used to use that logic to keep the sussest hands of all time. And like, listen, if there's one thing I'm grateful for to Tron, it's like, just have the balls. Just mulligan. Yeah. You're not going to get the land. Well, the statistics aren't on your side.
Well, and I agree. There are only a few decks where I truly feel like you can do that. One of which is Phoenix, because you can consider.
Well, they have like 12 1-drop draw spells.
They've got like 12 cantrips. And the same is true as the other is Murktide.
Right.
Where Murktide's like preordain. I'm going to look at 3 on turn 1.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So those are the only 2 decks where I feel like that is an appropriate thing for you to do.
Yeah, but in a certain context where it's like, yes, I can.
Or if you're mulliganing to 5 and you keep that hand, sure.
And it's like poker. You just got to do the math. Like, mathematically, what are your actual odds? Do you think a 50% land you have to draw? Is a coin flip worth not mulliganing? You know what I mean? And that's usually what it is. And it's like, because if you mulligan, you get to see 7, and like that's 90% to have a good hand. Or you coin flip it.
Yeah. The only losses I had that day were to vampires, which makes me really sad because my deck is like the deck that's meant to be.
Yeah, I know.
Vampires. And so
so sad, honestly. When you got paired against him because Julian lost, I was so happy for you, honestly. I was like, I was finally did it. I know. I wrote it off.
I was like, this is finally my time here.
Yeah.
And
also I was really rooting for Julian too because it would have been awesome for the final to be like the Boar Hat.
Yeah,
like the Boar Hat squad. Oh man, I was so sad when Julian lost.
And that would be an entertaining game because it was so
cool that 2 of our boys got to top 4. The other 2 guys were really great players.
Yeah. And Blue White versus Niv is like really grindy. So those would have been like slogs of games. But
right, exactly. That actually would have been worth watching because we did record the RCQ games. For those that don't know, it will be on the Boar Hat channel whenever Todd gets to finish editing them. Shout out to Todd and like the free editing he does for us, but he also has been editing videos for the Boar Hat YouTube channel, and it's actually been really cool. In addition to us pumping out shorts, he's been pumping out gameplay over there, just like MTG Chicago does with Sal, but for our RCQs and non-Magic card games for anybody interested in that.
Yeah. So, I forgot what happened in our first game, in Swiss, but our game 2 was just like the hand that you want as the Rakdos player, where he went Thoughtseize, next turn Duress, next turn Thoughtseize Duress.
Yeah, I remember that.
Then the following turn was Liliana, and I was like 5 discard spells in a row.
Yeah, I remember
was
that.
Like absolutely brutal, and I was like, well, okay. Yeah, just like, unless I'm drawing Neverbring to light, I cry.
And that's the punishing part, because like honestly, your deck can choke sometimes as a Yorion deck on the draw specifically. Like the draw power of the Niflite deck can be weak when you don't already have had like a Pillars of Bog, or I already bought Yorion, he's gone, I don't have that backup plan. I didn't top take a Niv and he just wiped my board. You know, like, because you're playing Yorion, you have a chance to just hit land, runner. And that's so punishing sometimes.
Yeah. And fast forwarding, get to the top 4. Or I faced Julian. We end up drawing to get into the top 4.
Yeah.
The following round. He's on blue-white. In top 4, I face the same heroic opponent, and the same thing happens. He wins game 1, I win game 2, and game 3, I had it. I had like 2 vanishing versus that game. I hit 2 lightning helixes. Like, I was able to just be like, oh, your creatures dead. Play my stuff and I win.
Yeah. Also, Julian too, I was actually like really happy for him. I was like, oh my god, blue-white versus Rakdos. I would rather be the blue-white guy.
Right, absolutely.
And then, yeah, man, he just had, those were the only 2 games he lost the whole day. Was the one loss to you and the one loss to Julian in the semis and the finals. The rest of the day, it was like the 8-0, 4-0, like he was on fire.
And this is the heartbreaking part. And part of the heartbreaking part, as why I say like I'm always the bridesmaid, is I have now, since doing RCQs, except for the modern season, I make 50% top 8, 50% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is when this past standard season, I was hitting like 60 or 65, 70% of the time. I made top 8 most of the time on Esper.
Yeah.
And the same thing about this season. I've done 4 RCQs. 3 of them I made top 8.
Nice. And that's awesome. That's like one, obviously it shows improvement if like statistically you're just doing better, but 2, it's like that's where you want to be. You're like, I'm not only playing multiple events, I'm always positive. You know what I mean? And like that's just how you keep getting better. And then you start going to Nerd Rage events consistently, and you're like, I'm always top 16, I'm always top 32. And then I'm grinding the points for the season. All of a sudden, you're like, wait, I might make it to this final end of the year tournament. I just got 3 top 16s in a row or something like that.
Yeah, it's just what I said to our Boars Hat guys is I was like, look, it's almost embarrassing at this point because I've got this playmat that I'm putting all my top 8 pins on, but I've never actually closed. I've got like right, not every RCQ has top 8 pins, but now I've got like 7 or 8 top 8 pins from the past 2 years, and
also, Boars Hat has our own personalized top 8 pins.
Right. I'm going to have to start sticking them on that playmat too.
Dude, those are so nice. Todd cooked. I'm talking like they are nice.
Just let them cook.
Yo, when Todd is on fire, let me tell you, even like the non-Boar Hat people are like, what? These are freaking sick. Like, so like, we also give them out for our weekly season, like for our weeklies end of season, for like Modern Pioneer Standard,
our
leagues. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I was like, we do like leagues for every like set to set or whatever, and now we have top 8 pins for that. But we're like, we should do them for the RCQs too. Just like, why not? And then we have like the top 4 tokens now. I saw you're using one at the RCQ, the gold print on it. I'm like, damn, that looks good, man. That looks good. Now we got the jerseys, bro. Like, it is exciting times for us. We are having a fun time.
Yeah, it's good here. So
hashtag blessed.
That's it. So my finals, I start off my game 1 against him, like, and even Todd said, like, he looked at how I started the game and he was like, oh, Frank is blowing this guy out of the water.
Yeah.
And it's what you talked about the bad draws, where I went like carroted on turn 2, turn 3, like removal beans, turn 4, another carroted.
When I saw 4 carroted in play, I was like, oh no.
Well, and
like, I know Todd was like, I was like, no, where's the Niv? Like, yo, no, we lost.
Right, and I was
starting to panic.
And that's what happened. Is like I started with like double carroted removal beans was like the start of the game. So it's like, that's really hot.
And the beans early is so nice. It's like, okay, once I have the beans, every spell's drawing me cards.
Yeah.
Like, beans really gets you out of how bad your deck is on draws.
Yeah. And so like I started really hot, but then as Stan has alluded to with the Carrotids, like I drew more Carrotids. And in that game, I didn't see a Bring to Light, a Niv, or a Fable, because Fable, at least, like if you're drawing Carrotids or you're drawing lands, you just start filtering them with Fable to draw into your better cards.
Right.
And I saw none of it. So he just got there because like I went 6-7 turns of drawing lands, Carrotids, like just nothing burgers.
Carrot is such a good card. It's not like you can cut it.
No.
But like when you draw all of them, you're like, oh man.
Right. In your 80 card deck, you draw 4 Carrotids within like the first 20 cards. You're like
bog, one like draw spell really gets you out of the rut. I don't know. It's rough. That's the kind of card that like eventually like gets power crept out for sure. But like, man, like not even hitting like a pillage or anything. I was like, no, I could. And the other guy was like drawing action. So like I was watching it from his perspective, looking at like, yeah, he's playing everything is exactly as he's supposed to. He's getting very aggressive when he needs to. He's putting the counters on the right creatures. He never sacrificed to Sorin. He just kept turning him sideways.
Oh, well, you know what it was? You know what I lost to? I lost to, he had 3 Mutavaults and a Hive of the Eye Tyrant. And so I didn't, like, your removal, unless you're drawing the Lightning Helixes.
Leyline Binding doesn't work.
Yeah, Leyline Binding doesn't work. Yeah, it's just like, so I was just getting beat down by manlands.
Right.
Because I wasn't drawing.
It's like you couldn't even kill a Sorin. You got rid of both of his Sorins, but he just had so many counters on his lands now.
Right.
And the fact that it was Mutavault specifically, like they're so cheap to activate.
Right. And I was using Leyline Bindings, and I told Todd this because he's like, why were you like using your Leyline Bindings? Like, were you just trying to run them out there? And I was like, no, I was trying to trigger my beans with binding, because getting Sorin is good.
Right.
No doubt.
Just draw a card.
Getting Sorin is good. But I was like, I'm just trying to like draw into action, and it wasn't. So that was game 1. Game 2, the deck did the thing. I ended up like having a really cool play at the end and Richard afterwards, Todd's brother, was like, wow, I watched you play that turn and went, I did not see that line, and so many other people could have played that so much more suboptimally. And so he has a big board. Like he's got a Vein Ripper, a Fable, or a Blood Tithe Harvester. No, it was a Preacher that had a counter on it that just attacked in. He's got a Sorin on the field, and I'm at 9.
Yeah.
He attacks me, and I take 3. I go down to 6. And I go, cool. And I've got Scarab God out.
Yeah.
And I forget what else, but I go, I'm going to reanimate. I think I had maybe Roxanne. Can't remember.
Sure.
But anyway, I go, I'm going to reanimate my own Niv Mizzet with Scarab God on end step. Cool. I'm going to draw 4 cards, or I drew like 3 cards.
Yeah.
Cool. Draw 3 cards, go to my turn. I reanimate his own Vein Ripper.
Ooh, nice.
I exile his Vein Ripper, sack my Goblin Shaman token. The life gains even out. And I go, cool. If I attack in with everything, you have some tokens, but then my Vein Ripper triggers off of taking yours.
Yeah.
Like, we'll have you dead. I attack in with all. And he goes, oh, yeah, you got it. And so I was like, yeah.
Finding the lethal, not just the I win this next turn. I like that.
Yeah.
If you have it, just take it. Don't give them a chance to draw out of it.
Yeah. So I saw the lethal line. I took it. I got it. And then in game 3, I kept what would normally be a slower hand. But I had Carrotid and Bring to Light on 4.
Oh, right.
And so I was like, this is a good hand. And, you know, even if like I get hit by like discard spells, as long as I draw removal, I'm okay. And he went Thoughtseize turn 1, remove your Carrotid. I was like, okay, if I have removal again, it's fine. The turn 3 Vein Ripper, and I was like,
yeah, turn 3 Sorin Vein Ripper.
Okay,
nice.
And I just never drew into like, right when Vein Ripper hits as a Niv player, you need a token or a Carrotid to hit the board.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the ability on turn 5 to go, like not even bring, like I was so low on life total that I was like, bring to light into board wipe does not get me there, because I have to there's manlands out.
Yeah.
So like I have to life gain here. And so I went for the line of Omnath. I have to Omnath, play my land, get Leyline Binding is the only out I have in this deck. Sure. And I didn't draw the Leyline Binding off the Omnath trigger and played my land, just said go and knew that he had it, and he did.
That's rough.
So
I wonder if they'll ever play Aquasauts in your deck. Seems like I know you guys don't play Fatal Push anymore.
Yeah, Fatal Push is in the board.
Okay.
It comes in from the board. And it comes in that matchup. But my thought, and it's so hard because you don't know what to cut. Like the card I feel most mopey about is Deafening Clarion.
Sure.
Because it only matters in Amalia and like red deck sometimes, or heroic sometimes. But sometimes like even in heroic, and there have been lists that like have been playing a Deadly Cover Up. Like sometimes it's not often it's not often that I miss an extra board wipe, but there are times where I'm like, oh, in that scenario, the extra board wipe would be really good.
You know what would be an interesting card to think about is maybe Star of Extinction. I know it sounds crazy, but like that card is like a get out of jail free card sometimes because of it also hits a land. I sometimes wonder if people are like not considering it because it's 7 mana or not. And I could just be insane, but like Jared and I used to play that card in Standard and then Old Pioneer, and we were like so like high on that card. Like Jared and I were praising it, like, dude, this card gets you out of everything because it's like 20 damage to all creatures, 20 damage to all planeswalkers, I'm pretty sure, and then it's blow up a land. So like you would just like have a problem and you're like, I cannot deal with this, except like you blow up their best land, mutable or whatever they had, and then like get rid of their whole board state. Let's go. But like because you can't bring to light for it, it's like probably just like a rough one. Or like, oh, I hope I draw my one of Star of Extinction.
Oh, and actually, now that you say that, I did actually pull Alex aside as the judge to go, can I do this? Because it will get me out of the scenario. And it was, I wanted to bring to light into consume. Like consecrate and consume.
6.
Because he's like, it costs both. And I was like, because that would have like whatever. I was at 9. It would have sacked the Vein Ripper and I would have gained 4, and I would have been like, that would have bought me a turn to Omnath, draw, gain life, which would have stabilized me. But I was like, oh, the 6, man.
Oh man, they had to nerf Karizev's expertise. They hate us.
Yeah. It's because I needed the life gain too. Right. Like the life gain mattered.
Yeah. And honestly, man, it was so close. Like I think you're gonna get out. Shit. Even Reed, Shandell was like the guy that you beat round 1. He top aided the last RCQ and was like, damn, man, like he's like, this is the first RCQ of the season I haven't top aided, but he went 0-3 drop. Like sometimes it's just, would you rather have gone home early or? I was second place. You got a bunch of store credit.
Oh, yeah, a ton of store credit. Like, I can't complain about that.
It's like, damn, man. Like, it sucks. Second place sucks. But, dude, I was telling Reed too, I was like, dude, I'm like, you're going to get your, like, win pretty soon. Like, but, like, you've been top 8ing every single one that you go to. But, like, damn, 0-3 feels bad. But at least he got to go home. Like, I'm done. See you guys.
Right.
And, yeah. And when he left, he didn't tweet about my store not having prize support, which was pretty sick. I was so happy, honestly. I was like, damn, thank you, bro. Appreciate it. I sent him a message and everything. I was like, dude, thanks, man.
That's awesome.
Oh, my God.
I don't think that we really have time because I'm positive that this episode has ran long. But
No, we have no time now. But next episode, Modern Horizon 3 spoilers start for us tomorrow. So we don't know all the cards yet. And we don't know which all the ones are real from the leaks. We're going to find out.
Yeah, because I'm not a leaks person. But
next podcast, though, all of them should be out.
Well, and on top of that, there are some cards. Like today, I wanted to talk about some of the cards that have been like really cool that I've seen popping up in decks. Like I feel like Free Strider Lookout is like a crazy card. And then like you're seeing more people in Standard and Modern being this is a crazy card. Yeah. And the same is true for Hostile Investigator. That I was like, this card feels mopey. The 4 mana your opponent discards a card. Whenever they discard a card, you make a clue.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, every crime deck is like, and like the Waste Not decks are playing that now. Yeah. And so I'm
kind of reminds me of like those modern decks. Did you see like the modern Magda deck that I think it was Aspiring Spike built, where he's like Codex Shreddering, like target you every turn, make a treasure, make dragons.
Oh yeah, where they're using like Relic to do the same thing, or like Mishra's Baubles targets your opponent. Like I think that the crime stuff is gonna matter so much more, and like we're seeing people brew with it, and it's really sweet. So I'm just like, man, some of these cards are cool.
Yeah. The next team event for Nerd Rage, supposedly, we don't know yet, but like Norm is fighting for us. He's fighting for our rights in Dakota too. Possibly has Legacy. If that's true, it'll be Legacy, Modern, Pioneer. Weird because Standard is good, but that would mean that I get to play Modern and Frank gets to play Pioneer, and then our buddy Jared can play Legacy. If that's true, that's what we're gonna aim for. If I have to play Standard again, I'm not unhappy because I really like Standard, but I really want to play Modern with Modern Horizons 3. They're giving us so much colorless support. I'm gonna have a lot to talk about next episode about it. But Tron players rejoice. He is risen. He is with us. 420, praise him. Thank you, Morrow, or whoever did it. I'm so happy right now.
The Tron love is here.
It's mostly Eldrazi Tron support, mostly, but like there's so many crazy cards that they're showing, and some of the leaks look cool if real, but I just like we just don't talk about the leaks. Not even that we refuse to talk about them out of like principle. It's just like we can't know if they're real. It's really cringe that people are leaking the cards anyway.
Really cringe. Always cringe for me.
It's just so cringe. And like
I have to turn off my group
chats.
And
then like people start posting fake stuff. It's like, oh, dude, I don't care. I want to know what's legitimate, and then we can talk about it. Let's not waste our time, because there's been so many times where somebody spoils a fake card. I'm like, if that card is real, that's crazy, and I'll get super hyped over nothing. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks for wasting my time.
Yeah.
We just don't do it.
Well, and yeah, I think it's gonna change. I think it's going to change Modern a lot.
Oh, for sure. Dude.
Yeah.
Like it has to.
Yeah. It'll change.
In good ways. Because Modern, like a lot of the decks, it's not like, it doesn't look like the decks are going to get like deleted. You know what I mean? Like what it felt like Modern Horizons 1 kind of did. I don't think any Modern Horizons ever really like obliterated the format like people say. It's just the fact that we've had 2 Modern Horizons now, and then like 20 standard sets of like some of the strongest cards ever. So like, yeah, I think even Modern without Modern Horizons would look very different. But a lot of the new cards look really cool. And there's Commander decks too, so some of the cards are meant for Legacy. And I mean, Legacy is really good right now. It's such a cool format. If you guys get a chance to play it, just try it out. Proxy with your friends if you don't want to buy dual lands. Just try it out. We play Proxy Legacy here once a month, and we get a pretty big turnout. It's such a good time. And it actually convinces new players to play because they don't have to buy like $4,000 worth of cards just to play a deck for like once a month or whatever. And the format is honestly so sick. Standard obviously is still the best format in my opinion, but Pioneer's been getting really good. I was complaining about it earlier. It's looking a lot more fun. Modern with Modern Horizons 3. Let's see if it's Chef's Kiss, hopefully. I mean, I really hope it just gets better. And then Legacy's looking really good. Man, it's just a good time to play Magic. Honestly.
It's a good time to play Magic.
Such a good time.
The only thing that I'm not looking forward to is with all of these Eldrazi players and all these Eldrazi cards, that I'm going to see more people on Twitter that's like, Ali Eldrazi, or like whatever their name is. I am so tired of seeing people put like Eldrazi or Yawgmoth or the Thrawn Physician or whatever in your Twitch name. You are not an Eldrazi. Like it, brother. Like
we're all gonna be furries next set.
It feels so cringe for me. Like I don't need new Magic players being like, Modern Horizons 3 Eldrazi in my name. Like, okay, dude. Like that's cool. And then
we all have something weird that gets us a little triggered.
Which is fine. It's more of like, you know, those people that make content that like jump off making content because not making content isn't easy.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. I feel like that is like the deal for people that like give themselves names like that. We're like, I'm this content creator now. And oh my gosh, this is a lot.
Yeah. It's like, I want to make content, but not if you're not going to watch it. Listen, I don't care if you guys don't watch it. I'm going to make it anyway.
Yeah, that's why we're here. And I'm sorry I just hit this mic 3 times in a row. All right, let's
Frank is getting angry, and I'm getting so hungry. Guys, I haven't eaten today, and it's like midnight, I'm pretty sure.
That's bad, dude.
Wow.
We got to go. Thank you so much for tuning into our show. Really appreciate it. Shout outs to Boar's Hat Gaming for allowing us to record in the store. We really appreciate it. And thank you to Todd as well for doing all of the visuals that you get to see. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Shout outs to MTG Chicago for doing not only our thumbnails, but also for all the recordings that you get to see. Please go ahead and check out his channel, subscribe, like.
Yeah, Sal's got all the good recordings of all of our weekly gameplay up there. And now Boar's Hat has got some gameplay as well, especially for other card games, White Shores, Universes, Pokemon, etc. Shout outs to Nancy Steroids, intro and outro music, and music when Frank is on stream. And also shout outs to the patrons for always supporting the viewers who are with us for the ride. We really appreciate you guys as well. If you guys can, please give us that YouTube subscription. You might not be subscribed if you think you are. We really appreciate it. And check out our shorts. They've been really fun to make. And I like looking at them just to see like our old content in like a quick snippet. You know, it's kind of fun. Oh, I said that? I don't remember that.
That was funny.
I said something funny. That's kind of cool. Anyways, as always, thank you guys very much. And if we missed a shout out, please let us know in the comments. There's so many people that we're grateful for. And that's our show. We'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you so much.